Right. So we'll call the meeting to order at 7:02. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Before we begin, I wanted to make a motion to add a non-public session into our meeting, which would be under RSA 91A:3 2C. Okay, thank you. All those in favor? 500. Great, thank you. Okay, so our old business, we have our February action items. I know that a lot of these were on me, so so one of the things was for me to get an invoice from Terry Knowles, which we did get. Terry Knowles has sent her invoice, so that is all set. Let's see. Sorry. Some of them I think were on Yvette. Did you have some action items also, Yvette, as I'm pulling this up?
Yes, but I would have to
Okay,
check the minutes
That's
to see
right.
what they
I
were.
can get it right here. So, okay. So February action items. Sorry. Okay, that you would reach out to other libraries to see if they have an Narcan policy, which you did and got back to us. I would reach out to Terry Knowles, which I did. That Jen and I would create a draft of a policy regarding meetings and public comment, which Jen sent to you. That I would email Paul to ask him to remove the SMPPO, which I did. That Yvette would move forward the roof RFP, which that's true. Okay. That you would get info on the sprinkler system work that was done at Town Hall.
I'm sorry?
That you were going to get info on the sprinkler system work that was done at Town Hall.
Not yet. That's still on my list.
Okay. And that you would purchase the Square terminal and set up the system.
Mm-hmm.
So that was done. Great. Okay. Was there anything that we missed? Okay. All right. The strategic plan. I did email Deb Hoadley just to check in and see, how are you doing? And I haven't heard back yet. So I will let you know once I hear from her. The building maintenance project list. Did anybody have any questions for you about the building maintenance project list? No? Okay.
There is a note about is the roof over at Henderson Room the same as the roof project? Is that like all one and the same thing? It just says waiting for the board to meet with Scott Livernois. Is that?
I think that's not accurate anymore. I think now we're doing we're putting forth an RFP through the
Okay.
town hall
That's
so
what I
that we
thought.
could
Okay.
get other bids on it. So
Okay.
yeah,
Okay,
I think
just
that's
checking
just
on that.
inaccurate. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, great. HVAC. Anything on the HVAC?
I should have the report by the 25th.
Okay. And then under old business, we pulled this out of Yvette's director report. Then is it NALOX procedure? NALOX box? Is that how it's called? The NALOX box. So it's here under our old business. Yvette sent us a lot of information. So why don't we just address this now and figure out what's going on? So
Before we start that, I wanted to let you know the safety committee asked to meet with me after the last meeting in February. So I met with them the next day. They just wanted to have me convey to the board that they did not mean any insult or any assumptions about the board. It seemed that there was some tension there, and they wanted me to send an apology, that they were just reporting staff feedback, and there was no hidden message or accusation with that. So if anything was taken on their behalf, I apologize.
thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. So the NALOX box, the where do we begin? All right. So you sent us a lot of information. So did people, I guess our request was for a policy of sorts that we could then say, yep, this is what we want to do. And then I think Paul had even asked you, did he ask you if you got in touch with the New Hampshire Municipal Association, or was he concerned with the lawyer? I can't remember.
He asked me to write to Primex, which
Primex.
you have in your emails.
Okay. So I misunderstood. I think I was thinking that we were supposed to, that he wanted us to check with the lawyer also.
And remind me what Primex is.
Primex is our insurance company.
Oh, yep.
So
Okay.
it's the town's insurance company.
Okay.
All right. So where do we want to begin? Comments, questions on the policy draft?
Well, there's more than one here, right? Are they distinctly different, or is there a proposal for both documents? I guess is my question.
Well, okay. So, in my opinion, based on the emails from other libraries and from Primex, we don't need a policy. The other libraries do not have a policy. The only policy I found was out of state in Vermont, and that's a townwide policy or citywide policy because it's Burlington, which is a city. So it's the pleasure of the board to have any policy you want, but it's not the regular practice as far as I'm hearing from other libraries that have Narcan. What you asked for was a policy and procedures. So what you received was two policies. When I've talked to department heads about this, then it makes sense to us to have, if you're going to have a policy, to have a policy that covers all of the emergency medical assistance actions that we could take, because there's no policy for using a AED. There's no policy for the eye wash machine, bandages. We have extensive first aid kits in the library, and as well as providing CPR. There's no policy for that. So the staff is confused about what actions can we take if you want a policy just for this, just for administering Narcan. Then it's a little uneven to the staff. And I would say myself included, it makes it a little different, like what are we allowed to do? And we feel it's confusing. So if you want to have a policy, I'd go with the one that covers all of the things. The other thing is the second policy, or I guess it's second option and first option. Option one is just for Narcan. That singles out that service, which is again a little bit strange, because why are we singling that out? We looked extensively at the Good Samaritan laws, one that covers the person who's received or who's having a drug event or an overdose event, who asks for help, or a friend with that person who asks for help and provides help, and that protects the person who's asking for the help so that they're not going to be prosecuted for having the overdose or having drugs in their system. When you're nodding, Robbie, like this much more well than I do. But so you have that policy, and then you also asked for procedures. So we pulled out, the safety committee pulled out the safety procedures that are in the safety policy manual. This is an internal document that we have regarding everything in the building. And you have not seen a draft of this. Department heads have not reviewed a draft of this yet. Safety committee has been working on this, I think, for the better part of last year. So that's how this conversation about Narcan initially came up, because they wanted to know, should this be included? So you're getting parts of it wherever it appears, but it appears in several places. So the green print is just Narcan, and some of the red are changes that they've already discussed amongst the committee, but again, I haven't seen it, department heads haven't seen it. You will see this in the next couple of months, because right now we're working on the personnel policy manual, and I want you to see that first and then see this. I'm trying to limit the number of projects we're working on so that we can actually get something finished and move it through the pipeline instead of touching, 5 things at once. That's what you have. Okay.
I think that one of my concerns
Mhm.
it was, and I don't think we were singling it out, but I wouldn't want a staff member or a prospective staff member to feel that there was an obligation that this was part of their job. And
Yeah.
so I do like in the general one that it clearly states the policy applies to all library staff who are trained in and choose to provide emergency medical assistance. I think that is like
Sure.
something we want to be clear about, that
Right.
it's a
And
choice.
if you look at the procedures in the staff policy manual, one of the things that the safety committee has discussed and then brought to me, and explained their position to me, is it would be best if all staff are trained in all of these various things, but not obligated to do CPR, not obligated to do any of it, but should be trained. The reason being our staffing level. So if an event happens on a Saturday, we have 3 staff in the building.
Yep.
And if we have to have someone who has signed off on something or has agreed, I will be the point person for administering CPR, and I'm not scheduled that day, we have to change our scheduling and make sure people who have agreed to do it are actually in the building. We haven't thought that far ahead to really mock up a schedule, but it would make it more difficult. So if we have everyone trained, someone might opt to do it, but at least they've had that training. I know the incident, I updated the email list. There was an incident at the Nashua Public Library right after that meeting. It's on the 29th of February. And, we're in contact with some staff at Nashua because they used to work in Merrimack. So there's still some relationships going on. And they knew we were asking questions about their Narcan program. And they said we hadn't had training yet, but I was able to administer it. Just because it was there, it was simple, and there was an event. And so they ended up administering 3 doses. And then when the EMTs got there, they did 3 more. So you can see in a situation, and you again would be more familiar with this than me, the time frame was really that administering on site immediately at the library, even without training, was crucial to helping this person revive. Because I think I remember from the training that it's, depending on how much they're used to the drug, that they need so many administrations of that. So, just something that we're trying to work out in the practical sense at the library. So that's where we are. Training mandatory, administration absolutely not. And that's also confirmed with the other libraries I had emailed back, which you have copies of, that are no one is required to do it.
So what is the board's position like? Do you feel like we should have a policy that covers all of the first aid things that we have in there? Do you feel there's no need for it? Like, what does the board think?
I like the policy that covers all of the scope of like what we have available. I think that makes more sense than calling out the naloxone. I think the behind the scenes part is the procedures, more
Right.
detail, than this. But I like the overarching policy, but I like policies in general. So I'm a little weird in that way,
No.
perhaps.
I also like it, and I also like it for the staff because it does say in here, and it has been our past practice or the board's past practice, but it's nice to have a policy that the library will provide training in the administration. So that's nice that staff know that like the board is committed to providing that training, and it says so clearly in our policy that will be something that happens. So I think that's a good thing to have in writing, like for future boards too, that the library does this for our staff. You would think, well, yeah, everybody's always going to know that, but you never know, right? So.
Yeah, I agree. I like this one.
So I guess before we do that, I this kind of sounds then that we are saying, yes, go ahead with the Narcan. So I'm going to make a motion. We can have further discussion, but I will make a motion that the library adds the NALOX boxes to its emergency medical assistance. I don't know what the proper way, emergency, or just with the ad, not the NALOX boxes. Or maybe I shouldn't even say the boxes. Maybe I should just say that, because I don't know what the future is going to be for you with this.
We're looking at the box. I
Yep,
mean, that's
okay,
what
so-
Lisa recommended, and then it's kind of contained up
Okay.
and within
And-
reach, but without.
And 2 of them.
One on each floor, I think is what we've
Okay.
talked
So then
about,
I will
think.
make a motion that the library add 2 NALOX boxes. Okay. NALOX, Narcan. Okay. Okay, if you think so. So we have a motion on the floor. So is there any further discussion or things that people would like to bring up related to this?
Not any big to do, but just the pharmacist in me is just gonna put a reminder for that it does expire, the products. So if there isn't a use, they have a very long shelf life, but just for awareness, and I'm sure Lisa will.
That's in the policy.
See, I saw in the process somebody.
There's a point person that will.
Oh,
Yeah,
good. Oh, good.
so it would be the director would designate a person. I would designate the safety committee because there are more people on it and they want to do that. They want to check.
Perfect. Thank
So
you.
it's an easy appointment for me.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions, or concerns? Okay, then I will say all those in favor. Okay, 500.
Can I, there's still the policy that. we're
Yep,
supposed-
I
okay.
yep. I
Yeah,
wanted
yeah,
to,
yeah.
but it
Yeah.
doesn't make sense to approve a policy that includes something we haven't approved to go forward, and so
Okay.
I wanted you to have that motion that we did vote on it. It's been discussed and approved by the trustees. So on to the policy. So I mean, I actually like this, and I think it makes sense that we have something that says these are the things that we do, and this is the training we will provide, and that it's not, and that it's people who choose to provide, because you can say whatever you want in the safety manual, but this is the policy of the board, that it's a choice also. So that kind of, I feel some of my concerns were also somebody getting hurt and then saying they like, or feeling like they had to do it, you know? So I do appreciate that it's a choice for people, so.
And to be specific, we're talking about the first aid emergency medical
I am
assistance
talking,
policy.
yes, option 2, general
Thank you.
first aid policy
Okay.
draft. Sorry, thank
Great.
you, Molly. Yep. And that was the one that you both said that you liked best, right? That was the one. Okay. And I also like that it says that it does not replace emergency care. Like, it's just very clear on what it does. So
Make a motion to accept the first aid and emergency medical assistance policy.
A second.
okay, any further discussion on the policy? Okay, all those in favor? 500. So, okay. Great. Anything else under old business? All right, moving on to new business. The 2023-24 budget, general ledger, invoice manifest, and open POs. So. The floor is yours if anybody has any questions for Yvette. Okay.
Good.
On the general ledger, under other outside services, I don't know why it's like this, but can you verify that the $43,549 got moved correctly and it's being just accounted for correctly? Because it shows that we're at a negative 264% in that line. I know that's not right.
We can check, well.
I'll check.
Any other questions for Yvette? Okay. The 2024-25 draft budget, there was the town meeting, the town deliberative session last week. and the budget went on to the warrant, moved to the warrant. So it will be getting voted on April 9th.
Great.
Yep. So that's that. Okay, we just spent a lot of time with policy, and now we'll go back for another policy. So let's see, policy reviews. So hopefully you had a chance to take a look at the policy that we had sent to you about the non-public, or I'm sorry, public comment.
I brought 2 printouts in case anybody needed to look at.
Are you ready for comments?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Let's take your comments.
I didn't know if there was anything else.
So this is actually a really good policy to have in place, obviously,
Mm.
because, you know, if someone were to come and speak to the board, we want to have it handled in an organized fashion, have a time limit on it. And I know a lot of boards have instituted policies like this in the past few years. So
And thanks for drafting. I think overall, I think it looks really great. Was this modeled after somebody's existing?
Yeah,
Okay.
yep,
And then we
yep.
just did a couple of modifications, which were, I think it might have already said maximum of 3 minutes. That's consistent with other boards and
Okay.
committees in town. And then I altered the one about, they had something with a sign-in sheet and you needed
Yeah,
to give more information about what you're going to talk about. I just altered that one to be speaker must state first and last name, residential
Mhm.
address for the record. And then anyone refusing to identify themselves will not be permitted to speak. And that's all consistent with other boards in town.
I
I
think,
think that everything else is pretty much the same.
yeah, I think it reads well and clear. The only thing that kind of came to mind was that item 4 about groups wishing to comment, select one representative, which I translated in my mind to mean that then they receive, that one person for the entire group receives 3 minutes.
Hmm.
You know,
Yep.
Yeah. Well,
because
but
of
I
the
also
limited
think
speakers.
having watched like some boards, like
Yeah,
with groups like
yeah.
that, the board can also always say, we understand there's many people who'd like to speak. Can we have a motion to extend public comment, or
I
you know,
see.
that sort of thing? But
I
I think
see.
it does eliminate, like, if you had somebody who brought people and then they just
Mhm.
kept coming and coming and coming. In fact, you'll even see at the deliberative session that the moderator would say, unless you have something new to say,
New.
like, we're
Yeah, and I
done, you
saw
know, where
that
she has
too.
the authority to do that, where
Yeah.
I wouldn't feel comfortable doing that. But I think if our policy states that, we could always expand if someone really had something they wanted to share.
Yeah,
If you-
additional,
yes,
like,
exactly.
helpful content,
Exactly.
yeah.
I think it's easier to have, like, here's the policy, and then we could make a motion to open it
Mhm.
versus not having
Go the other
something
way.
and then having to. So,
Mhm. Yeah, looks great to me.
any other comments or
I thought it
concerns?
was great.
Okay. Oh, great. Okay, well, I'll make a motion that we accept the library board meeting public comment policy.
A second.
Any additional commentary? Okay, all those in favor? 500. Great. Thank you. Thanks, Jen, for your help with that.
Thank you.
All right, policy review done. Unless you have something else for us, Yvette, for policy, but we're good.
No, I was just the Narcan one.
Okay.
We'll have more next month.
All right. Grants. Jen, anything to report on grants? Okay. No worries. Director's report.
All right. Let's see. First, there are several gifts. We received a quarterly donation of $300 from the Friends of the Library.
I'll make a motion that we accept the quarterly donation of $300 from the Friends of the Library. Okay. All those in favor? 500. Thank you very much to the Friends.
And the Friends of the Library purchased 3D printer supplies at the cost of $168.41. I don't know if you need to accept that or if you just want to know.
It's accepted. They donate. It's essentially a donation from them, right? And that was the value.
It's their funds. I mean, I don't know. I'm looking
Mm.
at you.
We've never done it in the past.
Okay. Well,
Because
see what-
they bought it, they didn't give you the money and that was put in our account and then it was
Okay.
paid out, right?
all right.
Okay.
We'll follow past
Then
practice then.
fine.
That makes sense.
All right. We received a donation of the game Exoship from resident Matt Susi and would like to add this to our Library of Things collection.
I'll make a motion that we accept the donation of game Exoship from Matt Susi. Okay. All those in favor? Thank you very much.
We received a health trust grant of $500 for our employee wellness program.
Oh, great. I'll make a motion that we accept the $500 health trust grant. Okay. All those in favor? 0-0. Great. Thank you.
Okay, and I got one in like yesterday. We received a bag of Legos from Brandon LaRouche, who is not a resident, but we would like to have this. I'm not sure if it's in the Library of Things collection or just to have, downstairs in the children's room
Yep.
for kids to play with
Sure.
when it's open Lego time.
I'll make a motion that we accept the bag of Legos. So, Richard. Wonderful. Okay, all those in favor? Okay, can never have too many Legos. So, yes.
Would you mind just spelling the last name?
LaRouche. And it's all lowercase r.
I just noticed that my mic wasn't on, so if anybody's talking and mics are not, that's all. I just noticed it.
They've just heard me. It's like a soliloquy. Is that the word I'm looking for? Not a soliloquy.
No, it's a solo.
Is it? Okay.
It's a solo,
Yeah.
yeah. Or you could say monologue. it's fine.
Monologue. Yes, that's the other one. Okay.
Okay. Let's see. We would like to hire Leah Jobin for the part-time youth services page aide position. I don't have her PAR today.
Okay.
But there were some youth worker paperwork that had to go back and forth, but we're anticipating a start date. I want to say it's April 1st or April 4th, but
Okay. If you
we'll
let
have
me
that
know,
clear later.
I don't mind coming in and
Okay.
signing it. So, I'll make a motion that we hire Leah Jobin for the part-time youth services page 8 position.
I'll second.
Okay. All those in favor? Opposed? Abstaining? Okay. 401.
Okay. Let's see. I wrote you an email, Janet. We would like to request a meeting with the Finance Committee. We have some questions about the spreadsheet that you had passed around at the last meeting about the trust fund amounts. We're trying to match up your amounts with our amounts, and they aren't matching up quite. So
Okay.
if we could meet with you, and we being me, Jen, and Joanne, that would really be helpful. Just sit down all together and look at it at once instead of emailing back and forth.
Sure.
Okay, so if you could send me dates, yeah, you both have this email.
Yep.
So if you send me dates, then I can coordinate. Okay, fantastic. Let's see. Under the elevator is finished. The crew has been back a couple of times to adjust it because it stopped working. And I understand the mechanicals are very delicate or sensitive, so they've had to adjust things. It's been working fine since the last adjustment. We're waiting on the certificate from the state that says we can operate it, and it's been, approved. And then I did ask Stanley for a quote on options to refurbish the doors because that wasn't part of the project. The doors look like they're still in 1979. So I can give you a couple of quotes when I get them. Jared is not able to paint the doors because when I spoke to Leah over there, she said that there's a certain kind of procedure that has to be done to the doors. They have to be like magnetized to have a certain kind of paint adhered to them. So we're not.
Yeah,
we will not paint them.
Nope, we'll be good. Yep.
So it's either they're going to give me a quote to paint them or to refurbish with some kind of metal. So really, it's going to be, you'll see two different things. But I don't have that yet. I told you about the retro commissioning. So the RFP for the roof, the walkthrough date, I have the new RFP for you to approve the dates. Yeah. Too many papers. It's probably with the Narcan file. Here we go. All right. So the walkthrough, this is what the RFP says is that vendors who want to bid on it must attend the walkthrough on April 5th, which is a Friday at 10 a.m. When we've had the walkthrough for the elevator, I'm there, Joanne's there, Jared's there, and we meet the potential vendor. And then sealed proposals will be received at the finance office until 2:00, Friday the 19th of April. At that point, they'll be opened and I need to be present. So some of the questions that you had for the other draft of the RFP, the town holds the insurance, so that's why they're listed on the document. But we did add that the town of Merrimack and library trustees reserves the right to reject any or all bids. There was a question about the word window that's been changed to materials, so it's much, I think it's much cleaner and more clear now. So anywhere that the library trustees or library can be inserted, it was. Anywhere where it's not appropriate because it really is the town, because it's their bidding process, and they would be holding the insurance on the project, then it stayed with them. Can I submit this back to Kelly so we can get it going on it?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So that's that.
No, I mean, she brought up the little questions that I had in terms of like who should be where and that window. No.
Okay.
Can we attend the walkthrough? Or-
It's just that's the date. If it doesn't work, then you should tell me and I will have Kelly change it. So.
That we were just there, questions, we don't have to send them back to you.
Okay, I mean, that's why I said, let me check these dates with the board tonight, and then I'll get back with her tomorrow with one answer or another answer. So that's okay? Okay, great. Okay. We have Square. So the terminal has not been set up yet. We still have some questions, and Alyssa is going to be contacting Hooksett and Dairy, who have the terminal, and that's different. Well, Gmilk's switched over our website in Aspen to Square from Comprise, so that's working now. There's absolutely no change from the patron side. Eve was helping me, and she put a $5 charge on my account. So then I went home from my home computer and paid the $5 with my business card. And I wrote to you and said, okay, I got an email from Square saying this much has been deposited in your account. So, $455. I didn't actually go back and check. Well, I would check QuickBooks, but you could check DCU.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's very smooth. There's no issues. We're still working out what the scenario is like if someone wants to pay with a card in person using the terminal. And so that Alyssa thinks that those situations would be if they wanted to print and pay for printing, or if they have a replacement charge that they found out because of the minimum payment of $5 that Squares is requiring. So we're still kind of working out some of that. And so she's going to talk to these two other libraries about their procedures and how they've worked it out so that we can have some more information. With Dairy, the Square terminal connects to their cash register. Our cash register is not the same as their cash register, so I don't think it's going to connect. So we have to figure out if there's another way we can work this. If we can't, then I can return the device, or we can decide if you want to do something else with it. One of the questions we had in department heads today was a question that came up when we were sitting with you, Janet, was, you know, what are the kind of things that people would want to use their card for? And it still comes up with passports and Friends book sale, which is totally separate, you know, so that's, we don't know if, because Dairy accepts book sale, so I'm not sure how they square that.
Okay.
So we're working on it. Okay, so the stair tread, I think I mentioned this to you already with the, okay. So we are moving forward with the replacement of the stair tread. The company that Atkinson works with about the asbestos tests, they came in and did that. Don't have a report on that yet, but we've got that project tentatively scheduled for Monday, May 6th. I would like to close the library for that day. It's going to be very intrusive because it's the stairwell, it's in the middle of the building, it's right outside the children's room. You know, we've had other projects in the stairwell where we didn't close and it was not the best decision, so I would like to do that. Staff are prepared to work in other areas of the building or work from home, do a portion of their work. It depends on what the board would like. Jen, Joanne, myself, and Jared, we would be in the building while the work is being completed.
It seems like a good time for some training if there was like,
Sure.
because
Oh, yeah.
the staff is going to be there, you could use that day for unless you don't want to wait a month, unless you can get it done quicker. But like if you wanted to provide the Narcan training, but again, you might want to get it done before that. But
Yeah, probably.
I was just thinking, a day that the library be closed and people would be available. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really dependent on the smell,
Mhm.
you know. So if, I just want to be really sensitive to that. You know, projects in the building, inventory, you know, that's still, we didn't get to finish that when we were closed that first week because it was so noisy and very disruptive. And then curbside interrupted. They were really, the circulation staff was dedicating all of their time to filling the orders, so they didn't do inventory. So that was something that would be nice to do. But what would you like?
I have a question, just that it's on a Monday, given that you are already closed on Sunday, is that with either, if you're still doing curbside, is that going to be busier because you were closed on Sunday? Would a
We wouldn't do curbside
Okay,
if we're closed, because then we would do in building projects,
okay,
or, you know, it's one or the other. It's this or curbside, and curbside would be challenging because of requesting the books that are downstairs. And we could use the elevator. It's just, we played out lots of different scenarios, and the ideal one is whittled down to close, and only 4 of us are in the building. Everyone else is home, having a day off, or working from home, you know, doing some kind of online training, or in parts of the building that would be far enough away, you know, an office with a closed door, you know, and working away from any potential odor.
I'm looking around. So what?
I'm fine with that. I would assume there's some sort of adhesive they're using to.
It's
put the
actually the
shreds on.
removal of the treads that
yeah,
we're hearing is
yeah,
the worst
yeah.
part, which is the beginning.
It's probably like a strong chemicals.
Yeah.
and-
That's what we're anticipating. So
Mhm.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's fine. And
Yeah.
it gives you plenty of time to notify patrons too.
Would you like a motion?
I would like
we-
to know how much work you want them to do. You want to aim for 4 hours, which is more feasible, I think, in working remotely or working on other things. I mean, we're going to do the best we can, but what is the direction?
What have you done before? when
We've closed. Closing is easiest because then I don't have to track hours. And then it's just 4 of us I have to worry about. If we have projects, then we have to work out the projects. If someone feels ill and they need to go home, then it's over and they will go home. So that's what we're looking at.
Oh, no, I thought you meant, I thought you were asking for like how many hours
Yes.
would they be working from home?
During
I'm sorry,
COVID,
I
it was 4.
confused.
During COVID, it was 50%. I'm saying 4 because I'm thinking of full-time 8 hours, but 50% was COVID. So that's what we talked about in department heads.
So 4 hours remote work while the
50%.
library is
I should
closed.
say 50%.
Okay.
50% because there's some people who don't work 8
Right,
hours,
right.
right?
Yeah,
So
okay.
they're like,
Do you think there's enough work to do for her?
It depends on the person. It depends on the position.
So maybe it's up to 50% as applied. I don't know. I mean, I think
Yeah.
that's fine, but I don't know how logistically challenging it is.
and the alternative is just the library's closed, people get paid, they're home, it's done.
Yeah, and we don't have to juggle it, but then 4 of us will still be there's still 4 of us in the building. I mean, and it may be, it's
Honest, yeah, I'm honestly just in favor of that. Like, why?
Mm.
Like, if so, I mean, yeah,
It's not usual for
it's
them
not-
to work
it's
from
not
home and
right,
try to figure that
right.
out.
It just seems like we're deciding that it's in the best interest of the library to close this and get this done once and for all. And so,
Mm.
I'm just not sure that it's worthwhile to say
Mm.
people like, you work 3 hours, find something to do for an hour and a half. Like, I mean, I guess you could provide them with training, but it seems like,
Okay.
yeah. I mean, that's just
Mm.
my inclination, but I don't know what people,
I think that makes sense,
yeah.
especially when there's a reason we're closing. So, I agree with you.
I mean, it's not a lot of people, I would think, either, because
Monday is, we usually get van deliveries. And, Jen and Joanne and we can receive the van deliveries
Right,
still.
right,
We
right,
just
right.
wouldn't unpack it.
Is
Mhm.
there a better day during the week?
I don't know because that's what we were given. That's what she said. This is a day when we can come and it's kind of first available. So it's like, yeah, let's do it. Let's do it before summer, before summer reading starts. And then it's very challenging to do any kind of building project. So
And when was the last time it was done? 1979. So it's like so we're closed for one day every, I don't know, 40 years. Like, something like this.
Do the 4 of you need to be in the building together at all times? Can you rotate? So like
well,
if it's
yeah, sure. I mean, we will sit down to figure that out. I just need to come and talk to you and see what your direction is, and then I can go and we can work that out. Yeah, sure. We can do. I mean, when we have a vendor in the building, then we have a staff person in the building.
Yeah.
It makes sense to have Jared in the building. I mean, I'll go back and talk to them. I mean, I know it's easy for me to sit in the building and do lots and lots of paperwork for 8 hours, 10 hours. I
Yeah.
do it. I have it. So that's easy. And I'm very far away from the stairs, so we can work that out.
I mean, what are other people's feelings? Do you want the part-time staff finding training to do from home, or are we?
I think if it's not a pressing need for the staff to complete that by a certain time frame, then I would be in favor of not having to put that additional work on to track those folks' hours, I guess. Like, that seems like,
Mhm.
it's a day.
Right.
It's like a snow day, which we didn't
Snow
have.
A snow day in May,
A rainy
if
day.
only. Okay, and not because I want to be out of school, but I need one more good snowstorm. One more good snowstorm. But anyways, so yeah, I'll make a motion that the library is closed and that do we, I guess you do want it in recorded that our, that staff will be paid for the day.
Yeah, it's clear, because
Yep.
we always go back to the minutes if
Yep.
there was like.
So I'll make a motion that we are closed on, I'm going to say on the day that the treads are replaced and that staff be paid for that day.
Second.
That way, if the date changes, it's just the day that it's done. So, okay, all those in favor? 500.
Okay, I do have some additional, because we had a meeting, additional things to tack on to the report. We've had Jonathan from the IT department in the town and his assistant Leo in the building this week and last week. They were working on testing out a sidecar for one of the phones on the circulation desk. And Alyssa tried it for a week. She doesn't want it, so we're not going to actually go ahead and purchase that. But he also has been working on the paging system. It's been on my to-do list for a while. He's a very busy person. But he and Leo have been going through the building and looking at all of the speakers that are on the ceilings throughout the building. There are speakers in the restrooms, in the lower hallway, the Henderson room, which is the teen area, and 2 areas in the main floor. And just when we are getting ready to close, 15 minutes before closing, and at closing, we make an announcement, the library is closing and so forth. And some people cannot hear it because it used to be piped through the phones. And then when we moved furniture, we moved phones. So then we had speakers put in different areas, including, of course, the bathroom in the lower hallway. And then we moved furniture again. So he's testing all of the speakers and is finding that some don't work. And some don't interface with the new phone system. So he has given me a quote for getting some new speakers. We're wondering, let's see, two speakers aren't working, or it could be the wiring. They would be 2 at 8712 each, wire to wire them 135, so a total of 309 and 24, he's telling me. And then we don't want the sidecar, so that doesn't matter. So where would you like, I mean, we're thinking this could be 8321. This could be one of the trust funds in the 8321, but our numbers aren't the same as your numbers, so I don't know that this could come out of that line.
This is the maintenance building line.
Yep.
Yeah, Ken.
Okay. So we'll say that.
Yeah, do that.
Okay. So we're going to go ahead and replace. Okay. The other one, which I also wrote you, Janet, today about this, just so you would have it in writing after the meeting. I'm sending you emails before the meeting. Because I know I'm throwing numbers at you. So we got an invoice from Resilient Buildings Group. This is the company that did the retro commissioning. So this is a bill for $3,498. I'm not sure what fund this comes out of. I haven't seen in any previous minutes any discussion or vote on where this project was coming out of. I could be missing it. So I'm not sure where this is coming from. It could be building maintenance. It could be building. It could be the capital reserve purchases. Right now, the elevator has the capital reserve purchases. But I think it's all that money. HVAC is, I think, I don't know, it's technically this year or next year, but in my email, I asked if you remembered or.
I don't.
Do you want me to go back 3 minutes?
I don't.
It was probably
Honestly, I'm not sure.
November.
I don't know, because I signed the contract.
Um,
And the other invoice that came out of this in November No, I'm sorry, in June was the building 8321, building maintenance, for the consultation you had with Iris. So,
I can look. I don't know, I have this, if you couldn't find it and you went back to like,
I went back to October.
Did you see where we voted to do it?
I didn't.
I was gonna say, because I think it was before that, because I think
Okay.
in June, we actually did the vote.
Okay, that's gonna be, okay, that's not on the website anymore, because that's last fiscal year, so I'd have to go into the files.
So,
Have they?
no,
They haven't sent you a report yet, though.
That's the one that I'm getting on the 25th.
Okay.
and when is that due? When is the bill due?
The 30th. Well, yeah, I mean, the invoice date is the 29th. I got it yesterday. So we all looked at it and went, what? So,
So June 6th was when we met with Iris, so it was after that.
It would have been after that. I'm gonna pull up the general ledger. You know, I would bet it's actually out of Passport.
okay. I mean,
If I,
Well, we can go, I mean, this doesn't have
Yeah.
to be decided right now because it's going to either be in the minutes or Janet will let you
Yeah.
know where it should
So
come out
it's-
of. So,
maybe passport, maybe.
yeah, because I
Okay.
don't think this was coming out of appropriations.
I don't think so.
I don't think it was.
I don't think so either.
Because this was our, like, this was us checking the boxes of, we had the audit done and it was like, she wanted
Mhm.
us to have that retro commissioning. It was like, okay, we're gonna get that done because we want to see what needs to be done because the audit said, not the audit, the, yeah, actually the energy audit had told us about, the chiller, like some parts were good and some things were good over here for the HVAC, so we wanted that
mhm.
comprehensive, what works, what doesn't. So I don't believe anything was coming out of appropriations.
I've got in August, Energy Audit Finance Committee is meeting to go over accounts and
Right.
review building projects. Deb noted that it is a good idea for them to look at and review funds, available funds as it pertains to the energy audit. I don't know if that was.
So
There
why
are
don't
no
we-
min-
why don't we
there are
put
no
it-
minutes from the finance meeting.
Why don't we, well, we wouldn't have been able to vote on anything anyways, right?
Okay.
So what we'll do is, we'll put it on our action items that Janet will look at, you know, and maybe between Janet and Jen looking at the minutes, you can find it. And if not, Janet, you can just direct where it should come from, treasurer. So,
That's everything I have, unless someone has a question.
any questions for Rita?
Thank you.
Okay. On to Janet for the treasurer's report.
Okay. So the fines, this is for February, and it's still really cool to see February 29th. We started fines with a beginning balance of $5,906.27. And we finished the month with $6,553.58. And then in our special account, we started the month with $53,720.26. Ended the month with $54,571.16. We started last month accepting anonymous donations, which totaled $51.01. So I'd like to make a motion to accept the anonymous donations of $51.01.
Second.
Okay. I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm going to say it. Don't worry.
You're moving on.
No, all those in favor? 500. Okay, thank you. No?
That's it.
Okay. Any questions for Janet? Okay, great. So we have 3 minutes to accept. We have the minutes from last board meeting, February 20th, 2024. The only thing I noticed right away is that it says under the action item, say December action item. So, yep. So, okay. So February. Okay. So that's set. Were there any other changes?
No, kudos on the extensive meeting minutes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes, very detailed. Thank you, Jen. So I'll make a motion that we accept the February 20th, 24 meeting minutes.
Second.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay, all those in favor? 500. Thank you very much. Then we also had non-public meeting minutes from that day, which Jen just handed out to us from February 20th. Any comments or questions on those?
Just to note, those are sealed, so if anybody has comments or questions, we have to do that in non-public.
Thank you, Jen. Okay, I'll make a motion that we accept the February 20th, 2024
Second.
non-public sealed minutes. Thank you, Molly. Okay, all those in favor? 500.
Do you want this back?
Yes, sure.
And then we have our already the meeting minutes from last night. So one too many to me. The March 18th, 2024 non-public minute. I'll make a motion that we accept the March 18th, 2024 non-public minutes.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor? Okay.
I didn't get that.
I just handed them to you.
It's right here. Oh.
I thought this was something else. Oh my goodness. Okay. Yes.
Okay. All right. All those in favor? 500. Okay, great. Thank you, Jen.
Does she want those back?
No, these can.
Oh.
We can keep these for the.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So there's nothing for the Building Exploratory Committee. Friends of the Library.
I was sick, so I missed that meeting, so that maybe can give an update. I do have their minutes, and it doesn't look like they went over much at all.
I don't have a copy of their minutes. Yeah, whatever the minutes say.
Let's see. They went over their financials. There was no staff funding requests. Yvette gave an update just on general stuff that we go over. And they talked about, they did a donation to the Camp Natticook,
Mm-hmm.
and they just talked about getting a picture with that. That's about it.
Okay.
Their next meeting is Monday, March 25th.
We have it on here. Great. Thank you. Development Fund has not met. Town Center. Karen, have you been to a Town Center meeting lately?
There is one this Friday,
Okay.
so I think I reported last time.
Yep.
And this Friday, and I am planning on going to that.
Okay. Great. Let's see. Personnel Committee.
I can update. So we have good progress on the director annual evaluation and planning to wrap that up prior to the April 9th deadline. We do need to request some times to potentially get together and go over that evaluation with you. I don't know how to do that, but exactly.
Well,
Other
we
than
basically say what day will
what-
work. So, so we
I
need to
think it'll
find
be
a
an evening. Yeah.
date. Yeah. So Ruth Marie said after next week, right? After next Monday. So a full week. So like starting on, that would be March So anytime after March 26th, so that'd be a week, Tuesday would be March 26th. So let's give Ruth Marie a week and a day. And so anytime after March 26th, that what might work for you, Yvette? Do you have some evenings free?
Is this with all 7 of you?
I think we did that last time where we all met.
No, I don't think so.
I thought we've done the evaluations with everybody.
Okay, I
would-
don't.
We used to,
I thought that we
Um,
did last year too, in the last few
but
years.
we did like.
It wasn't just me and Yvette. No, it definitely was like everybody the last few years. I thought we just had a
Okay.
conversation.
Yeah, in office.
Yeah.
Okay.
Or in the little
I'm
room, I
open
think,
to
last
it
time.
just
If-
being, you know, you, and you want Molly or Ruth Marie.
And what would
I
you
totally-
prefer?
I don't know.
Because I do think we did it, all of us meeting in the Lowell room one time. I think we did it when we were all during COVID via Zoom with everybody one time. I can recall both of those. So I don't remember ever it just being the two of us talking about it. I feel like it was always in my,
Okay, I'm
Remember-
probably remembering.
yeah, I don't remember.
Okay. So we're looking into April. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think so.
Prior to the 9th.
Hmm.
I don't know where that's written down, to be honest.
What do you mean?
When I have to have an evaluation.
It's before the next board comes on, right? So the
I
election
know,
is
but
the
I don't know
ninth.
where that's written anywhere. It's
Oh.
just
Just what we've always done.
what you've always done. So just.
Okay.
It makes sense. Well, if
Oh,
there
sure,
was-
it makes
I mean,
sense. It's just not written
Yeah,
anywhere.
but at the same
Then
time,
we
then it
should
doesn't
be in
necessarily
charge.
have to be in March either.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be January.
It's true.
Well,
I'm just
Yeah,
throwing
it
it
could
out
be
there,
a
just
different
saying.
cycle.
you
yeah.
can always put it somewhere,
Yeah.
write it down.
Right, right.
Well, our personnel committee will do that. So I like.
There you go.
We will get a plan together so that we have a good cadence, I think, going forward with the action items around this.
Okay, so is there a date in the beginning of April that works for you? That
Oh yeah. The Thursday.
which would be
Fourth?
April 4th,
28th.
Mm-hmm.
March
Oh.
28th or April 4th.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I cannot do the 4th if it's
No, 28th doesn't work.
okay.
I'll be singing in the choir if anyone wants to.
Nice.
Not a solo. No.
Okay.
No.
No. No?
I'm gonna
No.
miss it. Could you just go ahead now and sing? So I.
Dankeschön. Yeah, next week is Holy Week, so I'm in choir and we're doing lots of services. So that takes up all of the evenings, really. The following week, actually I don't have choir on the 3rd because we've sung ourselves out. So if Wednesday works, Thursday, Tuesday, 2, 3, 4.
I can never do Wednesdays. So if the 2nd works for everybody, would Tuesday the 2nd work for people?
Yeah. Are we thinking 7 p.m.?
Can we do 6:30? I like the
6:30
6:30. I feel like if people can make 6:30,
I
Just-
can.
Yvette, would 6:30 on April 2nd
Sure.
work for you? Okay.
Thank you. And so I think for awareness too, Ruth Marie and I have a couple of other action items, which will be for the coming year to use the director job description, which if you happen to have a copy and could send along to us, or if we have a copy, I don't know, but I could use that. I think we want to just tighten up a little bit and refresh the evaluation document. We're using the previous one for this go around, but want to do that relatively early into the next 12-month cycle, just for the group's awareness and your own awareness too, as well as potentially revamping the staff feedback form in the next month or two. So those are the action items that we had jotted down, but I'm not thinking of anything else.
I'm just thinking, just some background on the form that we were
Yeah.
looking at. It seems like it doesn't have a lot of direction, right? It's just a task list of things and, we
Is
just
this
want-
the same form I filled out?
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, the same one. So like just looking at it together and saying, how do we make this more like concise or, because I think it's 5 pages,
Yep.
so more concise and clear for everybody.
I think too that came up there, if your job description is even accurate for what your job is now.
No idea.
Okay, so that might be like worth taking a look at, right? Because we
Yeah.
don't want to build a review or an evaluation form off of a job description that's not actually valid for
Yep.
what the
Mhm.
current library director position looks like. So
And if you're able to send that along
Yeah,
in the next
send it
week,
tomorrow.
yeah, that'd be great. That way we have that, so we can kind of start that next phase of
Sure.
work as well,
Yep.
so that we're prepped for the next board meeting.
yeah, great. Thank you so much again for your work on this. We appreciate it quite a bit. Okay, any questions for Ruth Marie or Molly?
Where are we going to be meeting on the 2nd?
I would guess in the little room. Is that?
I'll check the availability.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thank you for asking.
Okay, great. Finance Committee, I will just report that we do have the letter from Terry Knowles, which outlines the RSAs as they pertain to the management of trustee funds and how it interacts with town appropriations, et cetera. And one of the thoughts was that after the election, when there's usually like an annual trustee retreat where we just kind of make our goals, and that would be a good time to go through the letter and just kind of explain like what it looks like in practice for us. I'm happy to send you a copy of the letter before then if you want to, just for your enjoyment read. It's actually quite interesting and very concise. She did a wonderful job. To that point, when I requested that the PO be closed and we sent Paul the minutes, Paul McCallie, the town manager, he did ask me about if the donations had been reported, because that was one of the things that the former finance director and Paul had mentioned. And I said, no. And as a matter of fact, it hasn't been, because we do have this letter which states now that that's not how we handle unanticipated donations. And so I sent him a copy of it and said that we wanted to meet with the new finance director once they sort of have settled in. We would like to meet, Janet, meet Yvette, that we would sit down with them and then we could go through it together, because now it's all clearly spelled out what the law states and how our practices are. So we thought that would be a good way to handle it. So anything? Yes, they do have a new finance director. He was announced at the deliberative session, but that person has a lot to take in. So once things get settled in and the budget, we go through voting and whatnot, I'm sure they'll be able to find time to meet with us. So, Janet, do you have anything to add to that? No? Okay. Building committee, anything to report? No. Okay. Before we move on to review March's action items, I need to acknowledge Karen and thank her very much, because someone told me that you are going to be done, that you're not going, are you going to come back as an alternate? Okay. So we want to thank you so much for all of your service over the many years and for jumping back in when we needed someone. So there's always a place for you, Karen. We appreciate you so much.
And I appreciate you so much,
So, yes.
it's mutual.
Thank you. Thank you.
you.
We're really grateful. Thank you. And we all know we'll still see Karen around the library
yeah.
bunches.
Yeah.
So.
Weekly
Jaws.
at least.
Or Jaws. So great. You're always welcome to come in for public comment. You've got a whole 3 minutes.
we
You can
go.
say whatever you like.
The one.
So thank you, Karen. Okay, so March's action items. The Finance Committee is going to meet with Yvette, Jen, and Joanne. Janet is going to take a look at where the money should come from to pay for the retro commissioning agent. The roof walkthrough date is April. Yeah, sure, of course. Okay. Okay. And then I just had the notice that the roof walkthrough would be held on April 5th. Were there other things that people have on their list?
The job description,
Oh, Yvette will
from-
send the job description to the personnel committee. Thank you.
by March 26th.
Okay.
Please.
Oh, great. Anything else? Okay. Upcoming events. Friends of the Merrimack Public Library will meet on March 25th, 2024 at 7 p.m. in the director's office or via Zoom. The town meeting election day is April 9th, 2024 from 7 in the morning till 7 at night. Our next trustee meeting will be April 16th at 7 o'clock here in the Merrimack Memorial Room. And the Merrimack Public Library Development Fund Committee will be meeting April 22nd at 5 o'clock in the Lowell Room at the library. I'm going to make a motion that we go into non-public session per RSA 91A3 to C. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we need to do a roll call vote to go in. So Molly?
Yes.
Jen?
Yes.
Yes. Jen? Robbie?
Yes.
Okay. We are in non-public.